Hello everyone, I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Nika here with your daily neuro nugget. So for a drink, it's kind of warm today here in Chicago, so water and aloe vera juice. I like about an ounce or two in a glass of water. All kinds of health benefits, so it helps me for digestive issues. If you have any digestive issues, be careful. If you take too much of this, in some people, it does irritate the gut and can actually be a laxative. So I only recommend, if you are going to try this stuff, obviously do your own research, but start slow. Now, I have so much to cover in such a short amount of time. So you guys know I have ADHD, so I actually took some notes today because we need to not forget anything. Now today, I was analyzing some of the footage where the girls are being talked to by LE. And it seems that every time I go back and review these videos, there's more stuff that I keep finding. And again, we have seen this case drag out, so I think it is so important for us to refresh our memories and go back and see if there's any odd behavior, not only from LE, but maybe other college students that were at 1122 King Road. Now, in this video, I'm going to focus on weird stuff that stood out to me. So before we get started, give me a like if you like how I am presenting this information to you, and always leave a comment, because even if I don't have time to reply to all of you, I always watch them, and it's just nice. I feel like I'm getting to know all of you. So thank you guys, I appreciate it. Now, the first video I'm gonna be talking about is the stop in August 16th. So this is the day stop that I covered before with Officer Rosendahl. And who is the other officer? The one that's wearing the body cam. Who is that? Because I've heard different things. I think it is Chief Fry, but I am not sure. If you guys know who that is, let me know. Now, I'm watching this video in slow motion because one of you said that there is the body cam officer has something in his finger that is used to stalk people. I watched this video, slow motion, basically the whole thing, and I can't see anything. I even froze some frames. If you have a clear shot of what you're talking about, feel free to send it to my email. By the way, that is in the description, so you guys can always send me information there, so long as it is respectful and, of course, related to this case. Now, something that is off, okay? We see the police officer, they're going basically straight to the back. And this can be considered trespassing because he is asking for someone to be sent to the front door, but he doesn't really wait. He goes straight to the back. If that was my house and he was trespassing, depending on what state you are actually able to shoot them, because they're now in your property. And if they are threatening, I'm not saying they should have done that. I'm just saying that is considered trespassing. Now, I also happen to notice that they do seem to treat Kaylee different than the other young men that are there. We see Hunter come out. He seems to be almost ignored. The two officers don't seem to actually pay any attention to him. He's just kind of sitting there, which I think is actually a good idea. Whenever you talk to law enforcement, you should either be recording, which is legal, or you should have a witness, because a lot of the times we've seen in many cases where talking to the police without a witness, things can go south very quickly. This is not to shame LE. As you guys know, I come from military, law enforcement, FBI, CIA, DEA families. This is not to shame them, but this is to shame their acts. And it is American. It is the right thing to do, the American thing to do, to call them out when they are not following their own rules. So this second officer with the body cam, is it Fry? I don't know, but if it were Fry, it would freak me out even more. And I'll get into that maybe in some other video. We really need to talk about Chief Fry because, in my opinion, something is off with Chief Fry. And where the hell has he been anyway? Where is Rosendahl also? It's like, did they just disappear off the face of the earth? I have yet to hear or see anything of them recently. Now, why is Fry's body cam looking all over the backyard? There is a thing to be alert. It is important to be aware of your surroundings. As a veteran, I know that that's the first thing that you're trained. Be aware of your surroundings. But this body cam is like looking all over the backyard. It almost looks like they are inspecting the entire house, the entire perimeter of the house. And you can also see Rosendahl, and I happened to catch this because it was slowed down. He starts doing this hand motion. I don't know if he's just talking with his hands. I do that a lot. But it does look like he's almost signaling something. He does the thumbs up. Watch it in slow motion. Do 0.25. And then he does this circle thing. What is that? Does that look weird to you? Let me know down in the comments. Because I'd never really paid attention to it when you play it in regular speed. But slowed down, it almost seems as if Rosendahl is signaling something to the other officer. Now, why are they surveying this property without a warrant? Again, going to the back of the property, why? It seems that they just felt very comfortable going straight to the back door there. Does that seem weird to you? I don't like when law enforcement gets too comfortable. I don't like when anyone gets too comfortable. If you are coming to my house or anyone's house, don't feel comfortable. Don't get comfortable and feel free to roam around just because you have a badge or just because you have been there several times. There's still protocols to be followed. And they just seem frustrated with the loud teens and the music. And is this what led to the increase in harassment? Was LE actually targeting the house? Because in the next stop, the September 1st stop at 9 p.m., we also hear a lot of unprofessional things coming out of the mouths of the officers. And the one that really stood out to me is Officer Blaker. He's talking to one of the young men there, and he says that if his son joined a fraternity, that he would disown him. Why? Why would you tell that to a young man who you are talking to and you know is a fraternity member? There was no need for that. Nobody cares, Officer Blaker, how you feel about fraternities. It's not the place to discuss that. Now, it just makes you wonder, and we've covered this before, were they surveilling the house, disguising these visits as noise complaints? Because this would make sense why they never logged the visits to 1122 and instead gave them citations, because that way there really isn't a record, right? Maybe some body cam footage, but how many times have they actually been there? Why is there not a full record? Why were the visits never logged? Who actually made these complaints? Were there even any actual noise complaints made? Now, this was very interesting to me because one of the officers says, who's the owner of the house? And then he switches, when they first knock, he says, who is the owner of the, switches to who lives here? But then he very quickly gets his flashlight and points it to the license plates of the white car, which I believe is Maddie's Chevy. It just seems off. I get a weird vibe off of that. You obviously already know who lives there. What are you up to? And then I'm going to call the other officer cop 2. And he sounds silly to me when he's saying, I wonder what sorority lives here. But prior to that, they had said, the girls, go get the girls. So obviously, you know who lives there. You know the girls. And this is why you go and ask for the girls immediately, because you already know. So why are you pretending you don't? Why are you asking these questions aloud? I wonder what fraternity lives here or sorority lives here. They knew. And that just makes it very off-putting, because this behavior by these officers comes across as suspicious. Now, the worst part is that there is a form of harassment there, and a lot of people haven't caught it, which makes me realize that there are so many Americans that actually don't know their rights, and that is scary. You need to educate yourself on your rights, because all it takes is for Ellie to knock on your door and you get stomped all over without even realizing it. Now, they go ahead and they're talking to the 2 young men and they say, you guys unlawfully entered. That is total baloney. That's total BS, because you're actually allowed to have house sitter, friends over, family. You can have people over even if you're not there, and this doesn't have to be part of the lease. So this shows a level of corruption and harassment. A lot of people try to pretend this is not a big deal, but remember, officers are held to higher standards and they need to be held accountable. Even for this, what some people call minor harassment, it is harassment nonetheless. You're telling these people they unlawfully entered, and then you're basically forcing them to call the owner of the home. No, that is unacceptable. And when they are away from the students, we hear them say, these effing kids, these stupid effing kids. And another officer goes on to say that he was in a different type of fraternity. What does he mean by that? The conversation then devolves into, I was a football player. But it sounds like he's laughing when he says a different type of fraternity. What is he talking about? We know the history of fraternities all across the country, all across the world. They are often not the best place, but I just get curious when we hear this officer say he was in a different type of fraternity. I want to know what he was talking about. Did it involve illegal activities? And 3 police officers, really, for a noise complaint? Is that really necessary? To me, it just seems like a waste of resources. What do you guys think? So, what did we learn today? What did we learn today? I learned after rewatching some of these videos that these officers were definitely frustrated. They were frustrated with having to come time and time again to the house. Some of the videos, like where we see Rosendahl and Kaylee, I don't hear any noise. Was there an actual noise complaint? But in the other videos, like the September video, we hear loud music. It is loud and it's 9 p.m. I can understand why somebody would call in a noise complaint. So officers are also human. Their patience also runs out. And by the way, I know what it is like to have to wear a uniform. And that alone can intimidate people when you are in uniform. which is why we see the students sometimes not come to the door when police is knocking. They ask for people, nobody really comes to the door. But is it possible that these officers became so frustrated, so infuriated with maybe having to go back to the house time and time again for the same thing, for noise complaints? Again, we don't really know how many actual noise complaints there were because I don't think they actually logged anything. So it is a shame. We don't know. And it's also suspicious because sometimes it seems like there's music and some of the noise complaints, there's nothing going on. So I wish we knew more. And what do you guys think of the officers destroying property and opening bags? We see the officers where there's underage drinking. They actually don't seem too concerned about the underage drinking. To me, it comes across that they really want to talk to Maddie. Why? But have these officers been charged with destruction of property? It is illegal for them to search the bags and destroy what was in there, the alcohol. They are not allowed to do that. So, another video, there is an officer, you hear him in the background saying they have a JBL speaker and it's very large. How do you know if you supposedly have never been there before? Okay, comments like this throughout all of the stops and you put them all together, it comes across as creepy. How do you know that there's a large JBL speaker if you've never been there before? Is that not creepy to you? Because it's creepy to me. We also know that this home was often referred to as a fishbowl because the girls would often leave the blinds open. People, close your blinds. There are so many creepy people out there. So my mind, I am very creative often. Is it possible that maybe a certain officer had binoculars in his vehicle and was watching the girls? Is it possible that that is how he knew there was a large JBL speaker in the house? Okay, I have a JBL speaker, a small one, but even on the large speakers, the logo is quite small from what I've seen. So even if we are to give LE, this officer, the benefit of the doubt and say, well, maybe he was standing outside and he happened to see the speaker. Either he really knows his speakers or there's something off. Again, it is when you add all these odd comments, these hateful comments as well towards the students, these spiteful comments against fraternities. I mean, you must really dislike fraternities and the students to say that you would disown your son. So I am going to be covering more of this footage. Again, I wish I had more time to deeply discuss a lot of the videos because watching them in slow motion, it might be giving me a biased perspective, a different perspective, but nonetheless, I think it's important to point out all this information. Let me know down in the comments in the Kaylee and Rosie video. Does Rosie look like he is signaling to the other officer when he does the thumbs up and then he does a weird hand movement? Let me know what you think. I have to get going. I wish I had more time with all of you. Must get to work. It's hard to talk about people in uniform, but it is our duty as Americans. I'm not saying LE was involved. Reminder, these are speculations. And remember, YouTubers, we have to tell you these are our speculations, but also remind yourself when you're watching the news that they are also speculations, because we have seen news channels just lie, character assassination, a bunch of just straight lies and assumptions and made up stories. That's what I'm doing here, right? I'm speculating. I have nothing against speculating, but I'm telling you, I am speculating. We don't know what happened. But news channels like Ashley don't tell you that. So what happens when it lives or it airs on TV? People take it as truth. And you should question everything. Question me, question all us YouTubers, question the news as well. They make money just like people on YouTube by views and clicks and comments. They have a much larger incentive to lie and get views. To be honest with you, I made $89 the first month. Not even enough to cash out. Do you know news channels make millions? So be careful with the content that you are consuming. And if you are consuming it, always question the source. Is it speculation? Is it fact? Is it news channels presenting speculation as fact? Just keep that in mind. Enough of me blabbing. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, leave me a heart, leave me a heart. Oh, and thank you guys for the super stickers. I got $2 this morning. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the money. Maybe I'll save it, or maybe I'll buy a coffee. We will see. You guys have a wonderful night. Take care, and don't mind the Martha Stewart bandana. Have a good one.